In this video, I want to share with you when is good to pay to speak or what is not a good idea to pay to speak. Hi, my name is Simone Vincenzi, co-founder of GTEx, and we turn experts into authorities. And we were in our private chat for a group program that we run called the Profile Builder Program, where we help our clients build their profile, getting more speaking engagements, getting seen on publication and media and so on. And there are some opportunities that appear that to speak at events where you actually have to pay to speak. Now, this is a very controversial topic because some speakers say, no, you should never, ever, ever pay to speak. While I'm saying if it is if it is a good opportunity, absolutely go and pay to speak. I spent tens of thousands of pounds paying to speak, and it always paid off because it was the right audience. So what I want to give you is some guidelines of where you should pay to speak and where you should not pay to speak. And I want to divide if you are starting out and if you're already established. So let's start before if you are starting out. Now, let's say you were starting out as a speaker, you only had a couple of gigs, you don't have much video footage, you don't have many pictures. So at the beginning it's more difficult actually to get some really nice speaking engagements. So in what situation you should pay? First of all, don't go to events where they charge you thousands, because it's very difficult that if you're so early in your career, you're going to make your investment back. Unless it's a huge opportunity where you're sharing the stage with someone that is like Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Mary Forleo, so some huge authorities in their field where you can leverage for their brand. But also be aware about what you have in your bank account, because you don't have to gamble it. If you're not established, it's very unlikely people are going to buy from you, therefore make your money back. So make sure that this doesn't break you, because I've seen a lot of people making a lot of investment to speak with big names at the beginning of their career, and then they end up being broke because they just didn't make the money back, or they didn't have enough funds to then support that. So if you're starting out, look for speaking gigs. If there are speaking gigs where they charge you in the hundreds, like a few $100 or a few £100, that's a good opportunity to look for. But in particular, then look for, is that the right audience? First of all, is that the right audience? Am I going to speak in front of the people I want to speak in front of, or are just going to be a bunch of people that is not relevant for my business? So that's number one, because then you want to get business out of it. So you want to speak in front of the right people. Secondly, they are going to give me video footage, they are going to give me pictures. Because at this stage of your speaking career, what you need is these assets like video footage, like pictures. And if they provide that as part of the speaker package, where they're going to film the event, when they're going to take pictures, now sometimes you might pay $500 or £500 to speak at an event, and they provide you the picture, the footage. If you were to get a videographer with editing the video and editing also the pictures, it might cost you even more than that. So that makes sense to consider that opportunity. Secondly, look at the other part is that look at the long-term possibilities about this engagement. Is that going to be a one-off where you're going to spend some money and then nothing happens, nothing else is going to happen from there? Or is there the opportunity to build a relationship with that organizer, to get in front of other event organizer because of that event? So is that event going to create like a long-term benefits for you on top of the short terms that you will get? And then the last thing is, again, if you are starting out, always look for, is the event has been established or not? Because when you're starting out, you know everything looks like a great opportunity, but there are a lot of organizers that would charge speaker and it's the very first event they run. And then in the room, they just happen to be all the speakers that have paid for it and not the audience. And I've been in some of this situation, actually a few of this situation, and it absolutely sucks. Unless you have a product or service, of course, that can serve those speakers there, you're just going to be speaking in front of the other speakers, and you build good connection, becomes a good environment, but you will not leverage the audience. So is that the first time they're running the event, or is this event being running for a while? Do they have an established track record where they can show the amount of attendees that they normally get, when they show the average return on investment that the speakers get, and so on? So that's if you're starting out, make sure you consider those. And the most important thing, even if you pay and they don't provide, because you see it as a good opportunity, but they don't provide that footage, they don't provide those pictures, make sure you ask them if you can bring your own videographer or your own photographer, because you want to use that opportunity to create some great video footage, some great pictures that will allow you to get booked in the next gig without paying. Make sense? Good. Hope you took notes on there. So now let's look at if you are already established. Maybe you're already established, you have already many gigs under your belt, you already have footage, you already have testimonials, you already have great pictures. So what you are looking for is for events where definitely, number one, your audience is there. Number two, they have an incredible track record, so that you know already that this amount of people is very likely they're going to be in the room, because they've done it before over and over again. If that's not the case and you're already an established speaker, then you can enter into some negotiation with the event organizers. There were a lot of negotiations where I was asked to pay $5 grand or $6 grand to pay in an event. There was Jarek Robbins, there were Dr. John DeMartini, and it looked like a great opportunity because I would get my footage, I would get the pictures, I would get to sell as well, and it was an event with some really established speaker. So it ticked all the boxes for me. But it was the very first time that the organizer ran an event of that size. So I needed to manage my downside. And so what I negotiated is to pay him $3,000 if he reached a certain number of people in the room, and then I will pay the rest if he exceeded and actually got the number that he wanted to get in the room. And so that becomes a win-win, because I'm managing my downside, but and at the same time I got a gig, and in fact it didn't reach the number of people that he wanted to get. I paid him half of the money that we established that he wanted to get at the beginning, and we got a good deal, and there was no hard feelings, and I didn't feel like I had any shortcomings, and he didn't feel that either, so we could keep the relationship going. So that's something that you can do if you're already established and is the first time that an event organizer runs it. Because everyone can say they're gonna pull 1,000 people in the room, 500 people in the room, 300 people in the room, but saying and doing it is two very different things. So make sure that you got someone that is already a track record. And then you gotta know your numbers. So if you're an established speaker, make sure that you spend time and resources in your pitch, in your products, in your conversion. Because if it's the very first time that you're selling and you're paying to speak, and you don't know your conversion yet, it's the first time you're selling, that's a gamble. So be prepared of walking away with little or no sales, because if the pitch goes well, then great. But if you're not great at selling in that moment, remember you have maybe a lot of other 5, 6, 10 speakers selling over that multi-day speaking event, and people are going to buy from the best speaker, from the person who's gonna persuade them the most, gonna show them that what they have is the real deal, and they're going to do it with confidence and with trust. And if you have not done enough groundwork on that scenario, then it might be quite difficult to forecast how much money you're going to make from the back of that in a predictable way. But then you arrive to the point where if you've done it enough times, you know that every time you step on stage and you have this number of people in front of you, then you're going to make an average of this amount of money. So this is if you're already established. And again, always negotiate when you're paying pictures, always negotiate if you're paying video footage, and if you're paying, always negotiate that if they don't reach a certain number of people in the room, then there is going to be like they can do another webinar with you, or there can be something else after, and then look for the long-term relationship with that particular event organizers. Because then, for example, if this is like a speak to sell kind of gig where you're selling a product and you become one of the best people selling, you might get there even without paying the fee up front, because now the organizers know that they get you and you're going to convert, and they're going to get their 50%. While if it's an event where you're not allowed to sell and you are paying, make sure that at least you do some lead generation. And this applies if you are starting out and also if you're established. Make sure you do some lead generation where you invite people to download something, where you invite people to take an action, go on your website, follow you in the social media, get a checklist, get some of the resources, get an ebook that you have published, join a Facebook group, so then you can follow up from those people. Because if you're not allowed to sell, then and you can't even, and you're not paid, and you're paying to be there, you cannot even do lead generation. I mean, why even consider that opportunity just for some pretty pictures? So make sure that you get as well some good, you get the leads from that event. So these are the different scenarios when it's a good idea to pay to speak, when it's not a good idea to pay to speak. And if you have any other question, just let me know. And as well, if you want to know more about the profile builder, on how we can get you to be on stage, to get you to get on events, be part of this incredibly collaborative community where we share a lot of opportunities, then contact me and send me a message here, and I'll get in touch and send you more information. Right, thank you very much for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you next time, and remember that together we grow exponentially. Ciao!